In Cotonou, strange stories circulated like whisper on the wind. One of them spoke of a magical coffin that produced infinite money. It was said that a marabout revealed 10 secrets to young people in search of easy wealth. Among them was Benoit, a taxi motorcycle driver. His life was hard. He rented his motorcycle from a cruel boss who demanded his money every day without pity. Exhausted, Benoit would return home with barely enough to eat or help his family. Sitting near the market, he wondered if poverty was a curse. That evening, an old sage named Jérôme approached. Everyone mocked his word about magic and dream of wealth, but his word touched Benoit. Jérôme said to him, "Young man, you suffer too much. If you are brave, go to Tauviklin to see the marabout. He knows a way to get rich quickly, but his conditions are terrible." These words remained etched in Benoit's mind all night. The next day, driven by Ingé and Despères, Benoit set off for Tauviklin. The village seemed lost in another world with its mud hut and twisted trees. When he met the marabout, the man stared at him with a piercing gaze as if he could see his soul. "Do you want wealth, money, respect?" he asked in a grave voice. "Yes," replied Benoit, his heart pounding. "My conditions are not a game. Once you are committed, there is no turning back." Benoit, blinded by the idea of living his misery, accepted without thinking. The marabout smiled, revealing jaundiced teeth, and then explained the rule. First, Benoit had to wash himself naked in the Cotonou market in front of everyone without shame. Next, every night, he had to sleep on a hole tombé until the cock crow. Every 3 days, he would spend the night in a coffin with an ancien corpse, and in the morning, the coffin would be filled with banknotes. Finally, one strict rule: no woman was to sleep in the house where the coffin was, or a terrible price would be exacted, death of blood. A shiver ran down Benoit's spine. The conditions were frightening, but poverty was even more so. He thought of his sick mother, his hungry brothers, his hopeless life. The promise of wealth outweighed his fear. "He accept," he said, his voice trembling. The marabout nodded, satisfied. He handed him a black amulet, whispering incomprehensible word. "This amulet will protect you, but only if you respect every rule." Benoit took it, feeling its strange weight in his hand. He did not yet know what awaited him, but he was ready to do anything to change his life. The marabout looked at him one last time and added, "Remember, magic has a price. If you betray the pact, you will lose everything." Benoit left Tauviklin, his mind divided between hope and fear. Wealth seemed so close, but the marabout's conditions resonated like a curse. He wondered if he had made the right choice, but it was too late to turn back. The next day at noon, the Cotonou market was crowded. Vendors shouted to attract customers. Motorcycles honked, and the smell of spice filled the air. Benoit arrived, a bucket of colored water in his hand, followed by the marabout. People looked at him with curiosity, but no one expected what was about to happen. Without a word, Benoit put down the bucket, took off his cloth, and began to wash himself naked in front of everyone. Women screamed. Some covered their children's eyes, others looked, pointing at him. "He's lost his mind," a merchant shouted. "He's possessed," an old woman added. But Benoit, his face set, continued to scrub his body as if the world around him did not exist. For Benoit, every drop of water was a trial, but he was thinking of the promised money. Night fell, and they went to the Tauviklin cemetery. The place was sinister, with time-worn graven the smell of dampers. The wind blew, making the branch of the trees dance. Trembling, Benoit lay down on a hole tombé as the marabout adored there. The first few minutes were unbearable. He heard strange noises, whisper, cry as if the spirit of the dead were watching him. His heart was pounding. His leg wanted to flee. But he remembered the marabout's word, giving up means a curse. L'oldon, et murmure. L'oldon. The hours stretched on, interminably. He closed his eyes, clutching the black amulet the marabout had given him. At one point, he thought he felt a cold hand brush his arm. He started but did not move. The marabout, hidden in the shadow, watched him, ready to intervene if he faltered. Finally, at the cock's crow, dawn arrived. Benoit got up, alive. The marabout approached, a satisfied smile on his face. "You have passed the first test. The pact is sealed. Benoit felt a mix of relief and anxiety. He was committed, but at what price? 3 days later, the marabout brooked en all coffin to Benoit. Inside lay an ancien corpse dressed in a time-yellowed white shroud. The smell was unbearable, and the wood of the coffin seemed to absorb the light. The marabout ordered, "Tonight, you will sleep in there. If you respect the rule, the money will come." Benoit, terrified, hesitated. The idea of lying next to a corpse disgusted him, but he thought of his misery, his rented motorcycle, his cruel boss. He took a deep breath and got into the coffin. The wood was cold, and the smell made him nauseous. He closed his eyes, trying to forget the body next to him. Every second seemed like an eternity. Strange noise resonated in his head, creak, whisper. He clutched the amulet, praying for dawn to come quickly. In the morning, he opened the coffin, trembling. To his great surprise, a pile of banknotes was waiting for him, shining in the sun. The marabout, impassive, declared, "Here is your coffin. Allons you follow my rule, wealth will be your. But remember, no woman must sleep in this house, or blood will flow." From that day on, his life changed. He quitted the taxi motorcycle job, paid his debt, and bought his cloth. He rented a large house in a chic neighborhood of Cotonou. The neighbor who had once seen him struggling now called him the boss. He bought a new motorcycle, then a car. People murmur, admiring but curious. How had a simple Jean become so rich? Some spoke of magic, others of luck. Benoit savored his new life. He gave money to his family, paid his brother's school fee, and offered gifts to his friends. But deep down, a shadow persisted. He thought of the marabout's rule, especially the prohibition against women. Yet, his love for going out and for women had not died out. He told himself he could be careful, that he would control everything. Wealth gave him confidence, but it also made him reckless. He was unaware that every banknote in that coffin carried a silent curse, waiting for its time. Benoit lived like a king. He spent without counting, bought shiny cars, drank in chic bar, and invited everyone. The young people in the neighborhood envied him. Girls vied for his attention, but he sat still bit for Nadine, a formé franc et had loved before his wealth. Nadine was beautiful, lively, and loved to party. One evening, after a lively party, Benoit invited her to his house. "Come to my place, we'll continue there," he suggested. Nadine, a glass in hand, replied with a smile, "Tonight, I'm sleeping at your place." "No tell, I want to stay with you." Benoit, intoxicated by alcohol and his love for her, gave in without thinking. They returned together to his big house. The rain was falling softly, tapping on the roof. Then, in the middle of the night, Nadine woke up. Something intrigued her. She saw the strange, imposing coffin. Curious, she approached, touching the rug wood. "What is that?" she whispered. She tried to push it, but the coffin seemed nailed to the ground. Suddenly, a dull sound erupted like a clap of thunder. The lights went out, plunging the room into total darkness. Nadine screamed, but her voice was muffled by a frozen breath. Benoit, startled awake, felt his heart stop. He tried to turn on the lamp, but nothing worked. In the darkness, he saw shadow dancing on the walls, indistinct shape that seemed alive. The coffin vibrated, emitting a deep groan. "Nadine!" He cried out in a panic, but she did not answer. He remembered the marabout's word, "No woman must sleep here." Fear paralyzed him. He had broken the most important rule. Sinister whisper filled the room, like voices from another world. Benoit, terrified, felt an invisible force envelope him. He lost consciousness, unable to resist the horror that was overwhelming him. The coffin's curse had just awakened. Nadine screamed through the night, but the door of the house slammed shut violently, as if pushed by an invisible force. A glacial presence filled the room. Terrified, Nadine felt something pulling her backward, away from the coffin. Benoit, half awake, saw black shadows swirling around him. The coffin vibrated so hard that the floor shook. The marabout's word resonated in his head, "If a woman sleep here, blood will be claimed." He had ignored the warning, and now the magic was claiming its due. Strident scream, as if from the beyond, filled the house. Nadine, panicked, tried to flee, but her legs seemed stuck to the floor. Benoit, unable to move, felt a sharp pain in his chest. Everything became blurry, and he fainted. The next morning, the neighbor discovered an inexplicable scene. Benoit's beautiful house had disappeared. In its place stood a ruined stable filled with gently mooing cow. The shocked people of the neighborhood gathered, whispering stories of witchcraft. No one understood where the house was, or where Benoit was. Some looked for Nadine, but she seemed to have vanished. Then, at the corner of the market, Benoit was found sitting in the exact spot where he used to park his motorcycle. He was dressed in his old Jean cloth as if his wealth had never existed. Haggard, he stared into space, mumbling incoherent words. My money, my coffin, he stammered. Passers-by looked at him with pity. Some said he had been cursed, others that he had provoked spirit. No one knew what had happened to Nadine, but rumor spoke of a silhouette seen near the cemetery at night. The house, the cars, the money, all had vanished like a shattered dream. Benoit, himself, seemed to have returned to his starting point, but with an even heavy weight. The marabout's magic had elevated him, then destroyed him. The elder of the neighborhood told this story to the young people, warning them against the promise of easy wealth. Benoit, once admired, was now a living warning. Defying the rule of an occult pact led to ruin. Desperate, Benoit ran to Vauquelin to confront the marabout. Trembling, he found him sitting under a tree, smoking a pipe. Why? Benoit criait. Why did everything disappear? The marabout stared at him, his gaze hard as stone. He warned you, he said. You broke the pact. Magic does not forgive. He shooed Benoit away with a gesture, refusant tous ses morts. Back in Cotonou, Benoit slowly sank. In a few weeks, he lost his mind. He was seen wandering the streets, dressed in rag, singing, My wealth, give me back my wealth. Passers-by pointed at him, some with pity, others with mockery. Children followed him, logging, but the elder of the neighborhood shook their head. This is what happens when you seek wealth through magic, they would say. The story of Benoit became a lesson through Cotonou. The elder told it around fear, warning the young against dangerous shortcut. Everyone has their share of blessing, they would explain. But it is earned through work, patience, and honesty. Magic promise everything but takes even more. This story left its mark. Young people, tempted by promise of quick wealth, thought twice. Marabout and their pact became subject of fear. In Cotonou, people learned that true wealth does not come from coffin or curse, but from a patient and sincere work. Benoit, himself, remained a living memory of this truth. His madness was a cry of warning, seeking shortcut lead to loss. The elder always concluded this way, work for your share of happiness. Occult pact only give you shine. And this lesson, etched in memory, guided future generations away from the trap of easy money and hidden curse.